The Raptors' previous offseason was dominated by trade rumors involving Scottie Barnes, as the front office refused to include him in any trade involving Kevin Durant. And after a very slow start to the season for the reigning Rookie of the Year, NBA fans are questioning the front office for making that decision and keeping Scottie Barnes when a player like Kevin Durant was available. So in today's video, we're going to go over if the Raptors made a mistake by not trading for Kevin Durant and if Scottie Barnes can really fulfill the potential that was set for him after that incredible rookie season. Let's get into it. What's going on, NBA and Raptors fans? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Hour Sports, your source for the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news. We do watch parties for every Raptors game and videos like this all throughout the week covering this team. So if you like what you see from today's video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Help me on the road to 13,000 subscribers. We're getting really close there, and we want to hit that milestone by the end of 2022. And in return, to get all that great Raptors content. Also, if you find yourself enjoying this video along the way, please be sure to drop a like to get that extra support to the channel. It really does go a long way, and it only takes you a second to do. But our video today is going to be about Scottie Barnes and Kevin Durant. We are revisiting this topic because I've seen some chatter on Twitter going on about this topic again here, and really neutral NBA fans are starting to catch on to this trend because we had maybe in the midst of those struggles for Scottie Barnes, which honestly are kind of continuing here. Given Scottie Barnes and his troubles this season, he's not playing that well, and we've covered Scottie Barnes in a full video and his struggles. We're not really to go deeper into that today, but we are going to cover on the surface, the big elephant in the room, that trade that could have happened in the offseason that didn't happen because the Raptors refused to include Scottie Barnes. And Raptors fans, yeah, some reactionary ones were talking about, wow, we kept this guy, we could have had Kevin Durant, that's a bit of a mistake. But now, like I said, NBA fans in general, not fans of either of the teams, are really starting to take note of this and are criticizing the Raptors front office. In fact, they're trying to clown the Raptors front office for this decision to keep a hold of Scottie Barnes. And you know what? Given the start to the season for the player, are these comments warranted? Because the reigning Rookie of the Year is averaging 14.6 points per game this season, which would be worse than he was last season, going along with 6.8 rebounds per game, 5.2 assists on 50.7% of a true shooting percentage. Yeah, those are underwhelming numbers. And when you see what Kevin Durant is doing in his age 34 season, you really have to wonder what this team could achieve had they had Kevin Durant paired with guys like Pascal Siakam, who, when healthy, was a candidate to win MVP this season, and a guy like Fred VanVleet, who was an all-star last season. These three together, mixed with a good group of players around them, that's a championship caliber team to a lot of people. But again, Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, the Raptors front office refused to add Scottie Barnes in a trade, and that was pretty much the end of discussions. If Scottie Barnes wasn't going to be in a trade, then there was not going to be a Kevin Durant trade. And on the Raptors side of things, if they had to include Scottie Barnes, there was not going to be a Kevin Durant trade. So both teams were pretty much in agreement there. Scottie Barnes was the sticking point, and you'd have to argue if this was rightfully so, given the start to the season for the player. So let's talk about Scottie Barnes this season. So obviously he has not been playing well, and it's very clear to me that this is a player who has kind of had his confidence shattered. Usually, this intangible guru, that was one of the biggest things going to the draft. The intangibles off the chart for this player. Not quite seeing them as much on court because the struggles are kind of wearing off on his emotions. And, he's probably his biggest critic here. He's being difficult on himself. And when he is struggling, I think he feels like he's letting the team down. And in a lot of those situations, he feels like he needs to kind of get it back and make amends for it like right away. And this is maybe a younger player who needs to have more experience to help overcome these situations, because sometimes he tries to really play himself out of these slumps. That just has been working, and the game really is a lot better for Scottie Barnes. He performs a lot better when he allows the game to come to him a little bit more. And the problem this season is that we've just had so many injuries that we've had no choice but to kind of throw him into the fire and make him the focal point of the offense. But, we gave him a little bit more than he could chew in those endeavors because he's not quite ready for those reps. And as a second-year player, you can kind of understand that. Obviously, expectations are going to be sky high for a reigning Rookie of the Year, but maybe that would have been a little bit too much for him this early on in his career. But, if this is a player who can't take on the main offensive load for this team, then why the hell did we keep a hold of him? Why are we so intent on keeping a hold of him when a guy like Kevin Durant was available to get in a trade? And the answer to that question is actually pretty simple here. So obviously Kevin Durant, 4 years on his contract, 34 years old. You get 4 years of Kevin Durant. I would say You're looking to get 2 really good years out of that contract. Maybe if you're lucky, you get 3. If you're really, really lucky, you get 4 really good years out of Kevin Durant. But realistically, I would say based on like all outcomes, your probability is around 2.5 years of really good basketball from Kevin Durant. That, if he doesn't pick up any other serious injuries, which he has had some big problems with in the last few years of his career. But Kevin Durant, you get the 4 years of that contract, and to be honest, based on reports that we saw in the offseason, that contract being 4 years, so expensive, was regarded as a negative part of the trade. That's just something that you can kind of keep in mind over the course of this video here. But regardless, 2.5 years of Kevin Durant where you can build a really good team around him. But the issue with just going all out to get that big piece is that it does not guarantee you a championship. It does not guarantee you a championship. No matter what anybody tells you, there's no such thing as a guaranteed championship. I mean, the Warriors winning 73 regular season games, you would have thought that was a guaranteed championship going into the playoffs. It absolutely was not a guaranteed championship. You've had these outstanding all-time teams like that, like the Phoenix Suns with Steve Nash is one that just comes to mind right now. There is absolutely no such thing as a guaranteed championship, as many teams have found out. The Clippers getting Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, losing after having a 3-1 lead in the conference semifinals to the Denver Nuggets. It's not a given that you win a championship. Obviously, having KD on your team for this season would drastically improve your likelihood of a championship. But that's just the thing. Sure, that helps you out this season. But how about Scottie Barnes here? We didn't keep Scottie Barnes. We didn't refuse to trade Scottie Barnes for Kevin Durant because we felt like Scottie Barnes was going to be exceptional for the first 19 games of this NBA season, where he hasn't even played in all 19 of those games. And when he has played, he maybe hasn't even been fully healthy for all 19 of those games. No, we did not refuse to trade Scottie Barnes because of this 19-game sample size that we have of Scottie Barnes compared to Kevin Durant. We refused to trade Scottie Barnes to Brooklyn Nets because there is a very good feel within the organization that we are going to have some elite output from this player, Scottie Barnes, for 8 years plus, because you obviously get 3 more years on that rookie contract. He's eligible for the extension up to 5 years, and he's an RFA at that point. When you draft a player, you basically have the rights to him for 9 years. So 8 years, including this one, 8 years of Scottie Barnes. That is something worth keeping on to. You just had the rookie of the year on your team. That is worth keeping a hold of. And this is somebody that your expectation is you can build around for the next decade. And over the course of the next decade, this could be a player that you really see in multiple all-star teams. This could be a perennial all-star for at least a decade. That is something worth hanging on to rather than just going all out and rinsing your assets in order to make that Kevin Durant trade. Because if you know anything about the NBA, contracts, salary balances, all of these things are very important. You think a rookie contract and Scottie Barnes straight up for Kevin Durant is going to make a trade happen? Even if that was the case, that's one that I struggle to really accept, but that's not the trade. It would have been Scottie Barnes plus all of that salary you needed to match the Kevin Durant contract. And in order to match that Kevin Durant contract, you needed to add in some good players making good money. Likely a scenario is that Gary Trent and OG Anunoby would have had to have been involved in this trade along with Scottie Barnes. So 3 players starting for the Raptors this season, one in OG Anunoby, who has been absolutely outstanding this season as well. All 3 of those guys, and likely the motherload of picks, 3 first-round picks, all unprotected, 2 pick swaps to get Kevin Durant. Now, looking at all of those assets going in that trade for Kevin Durant, would you have made that trade? Take out the picks. Scottie Barnes, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr. for Kevin Durant would have been a pretty depleted team around them, but, can the firepower of Siakam and Kevin Durant win a championship? Maybe. It's not something that we're ever going to know, but I am very sound in the decision at this point that keeping Scottie Barnes was the right choice. And you can't even value what the trade could have been and what it would have looked like. You can't value that this early into Scottie Barnes' second season. Sure, 2, 3, 4 years, maybe even more down the line, can you look back and go, wow, Scottie Barnes has not panned out in the way we would have thought? That's probably a trade you should have made for Kevin Durant. But looking at it from the context that you had in the offseason, you absolutely had to keep on to Scottie Barnes and the rest of those assets instead of trading for Kevin Durant. That was the right decision from the front office. And this is a front office that in the last 3 years has built a championship roster. Whereas you go to the Brooklyn Nets, well, the entire history of that franchise, 50 years, they've never won a championship. So what do they know about building championships? The Raptors, they know how to get it done. Masai Ujiri has done it. He was the architect of that 2019 championship. And I think he's putting the right pieces in place right now to build the foundation for a championship in the future. At least a team that is going to be contending for a sustainable period of time because they have a player like Scottie Barnes on their team. Keeping Scottie Barnes was the right decision, and 19 games where he didn't even play in all of them, he's played in 16, is not going to define the player. Have some patience with Scottie Barnes. Look at things in context like the way I'm trying to portray to you right now and understand the bigger picture. Thank you to everybody for watching this video. Please, if you did enjoy, be sure to drop a like on the video. It does go a long way to supporting the channel. And make sure you are subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports for the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news. Check out my watch party tomorrow as the Raptors play against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going live on this channel 30 minutes before the start of the game. See you there. See you again next time for another video.